This is some serious drama brewing in the Christian music scene north of the border. It involves outspoken worship leader Sean Feucht and Canadian musician Elias Dummer, and it's getting messy. For those who missed it, Sean Feucht, known for his politically charged Let Us Worship gatherings, recently claimed religious persecution in Canada after some of his tour dates were reportedly blocked. He painted a picture of a nation hostile to Christian worship. But Canadian Christian musician Elias Dummer wasn't having it. In a powerful opinion piece, Dummer directly challenged Feucht's narrative, suggesting it was more about fundraising than genuine ministry. Dummer pointed out that churches across Canada meet freely, and other Christian artists tour without issue, calling Feucht a wolf crying persecution. Well, Feucht has now responded, and things have taken a decidedly low road. In an Instagram video, Feucht mocked Dummer's last name, Real Mature Sean, and questioned his journalistic integrity. He also went on to label Premier Christianity, the platform that published Dummer's piece, as seriously woke and in bed with the leftist government. Classic Feucht playbook, right? Feucht then doubled down on his claims of religious persecution, stating that over 100 churches had been burned down, pastors imprisoned, and churches fined for indoor worship. He even bizarrely suggested that any attacks were probably mostly peaceful smoke bombs.
So I didn't have this on my Monday bingo card, but a progressive leftist media outlet claiming to be the UK's leading voice for Christians came out with an attack article today on me and anybody else that believes that Christian persecution exists in Canada. They're basically saying, we're making it all up. We're being dramatic. We have a persecution complex, while denying the fact that over 100 churches have been burned to the ground, that pastors have been thrown into prison for hosting church services, that churches have been fined for worshiping indoors, and that these are probably mostly peaceful smoke bombs that are being thrown. You know, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. The writer, aptly named Elias Dummer, probably needs a little help with journalistic integrity. Why don't we tag below some articles, some updates, help inform the media guys. Let's do our part to help them see the reality. I'll tell you one thing, they can attack me all they want, but when they attack the Church of Canada, I will rise up because God has shown us things we can't unsee, and I want to be a voice for truth and freedom. So why don't we help them out, tag them below, let's share with them some of the stories. We kick off in Winnipeg on Wednesday, and we end in Abbotsford, and I cannot wait to see what God is going to do. You got to show up to these. Sign the pledge. We have 23,000 people that have signed it. It is time. Let us worship.
The kicker? He provided zero sources for these shocking claims, instead asking his followers to dig them up in the comments. Convenient, isn't it? He then, of course, plugged his petition and remaining Canadian tour dates. The response was swift and, for Feucht, probably not what he hoped for. While many supporters rallied with prayers, other Christian musicians started speaking out. Abby Seiler, who has collaborated with Dummer, called out Feucht for mocking someone's name, questioning his pastoral credibility. Dove-nominated artist Chris Cleveland of Stars Go Dim revealed that his comment questioning Feucht's claims had been deleted by Feucht's team. He stated clearly that in his extensive experience touring Canada, he had never faced religious persecution, echoing that many artists held events in the US during COVID with proper permits. Premier Christianity themselves also responded, highlighting that they had given Feucht the opportunity to share his side of the story. It seems Dummer's initial piece really hit a nerve. After Feucht's response, he released another video, essentially fact-checking Feucht's wild claims regarding the 100 burned churches and the claim of imprisoned pastors. Dummer's sharp conclusion? This isn't religious persecution. Why does Sean manufacture drama? Because the drama is the product. Ouch.
Aptly named Elias Dummer.
Well, I must admit that going for the surname is a bold choice, given that your name is Sean. A quick recap for those not up to speed. I am a Christian in Canada. I'm a worship leader and a songwriter who's played many outdoor events across this beautiful country. Sean is a self-proclaimed American Christian nationalist.
That's why we get called. Well, you're Christian nationalists. You want Christians to be the only ones that, yes, we do.
Who's run into trouble with his so-called Let Us Worship events across Canada. He made a public spectacle of what he framed as religious persecution. And meanwhile, there isn't a serious global index on religious freedom that doesn't place Canada at the very top tier compared to practically anywhere else. Sean provides two claims which are unrelated to his own events. Let's look at the first one.
The fact that over 100 churches have been burned to the ground.
Here's what actually happened. In 2021, after the first reports of unmarked graves at former residential schools, there was a surge in attacks on church buildings. Many of them were on or near Indigenous lands and directly tied in community memory to the church's historic role in operating those schools. CBC showed that 33 churches burned to the ground since May 2021. And to be clear, arson is a crime. Even Indigenous leaders who share in this grief and outrage have condemned it. 100 churches didn't burn to the ground, and the vandalism lumped together in this misleading claim has little or nothing to do with Jesus at all, and everything to do with the sort of nonsense that happens when Christians align with empire, which is something Sean seems keen to do. Claim 2.
That pastors have been thrown into prison for hosting church services.
In total, roughly a dozen pastors or churches across Canada face serious legal consequences for COVID-era civil disobedience. Most had their charges dismissed. Meanwhile, non-pastors were charged by the tens of thousands across Canada for the very same kinds of public health violations. Business owners, protest organizers, gym operators, bar managers, and everyday citizens. The vast majority were against secular gatherings and businesses. This isn't religious persecution. It's the predictable consequence of civil disobedience during emergency orders, followed by courts sorting it out, as courts do. So why does Sean manufacture drama? Because the drama is the product. When I lived in Nashville, Sean brought his Let Us Worship Roadshow to town in October of 2020. The Metro Nashville Health Department publicly stated that no permit had ever been filed for the event. That is not martyrdom, that's marketing. Now, Sean's tour promo didn't drop in a vacuum. Sean is not only bankrolled in part by Citizens Alliance, a MAGA gatekeeping super PAC, but is also visibly cozy with Trump, right down to reaching out to touch the hem of his garment. So for a man so publicly aligned with someone actively undermining Canadian sovereignty, selling Christian persecution in Canada is more than a little bit cynical. What's under attack is honesty. I can't think of a clearer example of taking the Lord's name in vain than that.
Dummer didn't hold back on Feucht's close ties to MAGA and Donald Trump either, expressing his frustration as both a Christian and a Canadian. He called Feucht's actions cynical and stated, "What's under attack is honesty. I can't think of a clearer example of taking the Lord's name in vain than you." Strong words. This controversy goes way beyond just two musicians having a disagreement. It touches on some really fundamental issues that the Christian community needs to grapple with. First, there's the question of truth-telling. How do we handle situations where prominent Christian figures make claims that don't hold up to scrutiny? Do we give them a pass because they're on our side, or do we hold them accountable to the same standards of honesty we expect from everyone else? Second, there's the issue of what persecution actually looks like. Real religious persecution exists around the world. Christians are dying for their faith in many countries. When we cry wolf about persecution that isn't really persecution, we diminish the real suffering of our brothers and sisters who are actually being persecuted. Third, there's the uncomfortable reality that some Christian leaders may be more motivated by profit and platform than by genuine ministry. As Dummer pointed out, there's a whole industry built around manufactured outrage and victim narratives. As of now, Feucht hasn't responded to Dummer's detailed fact-check. That silence is telling. When someone provides specific, sourced refutations of your claims and your response is nothing, that says something. Meanwhile, Feucht continues to promote his Canadian tour dates and his new album, Worship from the White House. The show, as they say, must go on. So, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? Is Sean Feucht genuinely facing religious persecution in Canada? Or is Elias Dummer right in calling out what he sees as a manufactured narrative for personal gain? Let me know in the comments below. This is definitely a developing story, and it raises some important questions about the line between religious freedom and public health measures, as well as the integrity of those who claim to represent the Christian faith. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more commentary, and I'll catch you in the next video.